Hi there, Scorpio. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for May. This month begins with a powerful conversation. You may have found yourself at times this year involved in some very intense discussions, but this can be much more constructive. You can find you and someone that's important to you really coming together and having a shared vision of how you want to go forwards in some kind of association, partnership, or even romantic union, and it can be very edifying. But there is also a challenge to you. The planet of communication goes face to face with Saturn in your sign in week 1, and there may be another conversation which is much bleaker. Someone may seem on a mission to tell you exactly where you're going wrong, or is it you that wants to have this kind of authority? This can come up again in week 2 as the Sun goes face to face with Saturn as well. And some intense encounters can continue, therefore, they're not at an end. Venus, however, does move on the 3rd of this month. And it moves into a part of your horoscope that's very much to do with practicalities. And if there is somebody at work that you find a little bit tricky to get along with, it's just reminding you that diplomacy is going to be important. So with all that Saturnian energy making you feel in some ways a little bit restricted, or circumstances seem to be a bit uphill, this move of Venus is just reminding you that however strident we are in life, other people are entitled to a different opinion to ours. Sometimes there is no right, it's just other people see things in a different way at that particular time. So agreeing to disagree, particularly in a professional context, could be actually a very smart thing to do. Now Mercury is going to be moving, and it moves on the 7th, but it almost immediately is going to be clashing with Neptune, the planet of dreams, which is in a very idealistic part of your horoscope. When it comes to shared resources, confusion can cloud issues here too. Again, if you're going to go into battle with a very distinct point of view, you must make sure that your facts are straight. Now Venus and Mars go face to face in week 2 as well. Now Mars, of course, is your co-ruler, and it's been in a very turbulent part of your horoscope since just before the end of last year. In its opposition with Venus, it could suggest that relationships can be out of kilter, and it's possible that some hidden stuff can come up into the open that you're not expecting. Perhaps it's you who's suddenly going to ventilate your feelings on something. You can be quite secretive and yet quite forthright about the things you do want to open up about. Or it could be someone else who's trying to push something into the open. And all this can come up to the boil on the back of the full moon in your sign on the 14th. I do feel the exchanges you have then could leave you feeling really on the ropes in some ways. But in other ways, it is an opportunity after you've absorbed what's said to just step back and think very carefully about what it's all meant. It's possible that you do need to realign your position, your outlook on something, around a business partnership, around the way that you share resources, around the way that you are with other people. Becoming much more conscious of relationships is really one of the themes of this month. If you get this, it's an opportunity to relaunch your relationships in a much more positive way. If you're not so tuned into how other people see things, and they're right to see it differently to you, this could be a real wake-up call. Now, Mars, your co-ruler, does start to go forwards on the 19th. That can be good. On the 20th, the Sun moves, and it moves into an area which is all about understanding what things really mean, which, of course, you need little introduction to, because you're brilliant at reading the subtext in situations, or are you? If the events of this month have taught you that perhaps you have read how someone feels in the wrong kind of way, the move of the Sun can be an encouragement to perhaps do more reading, more thinking, more contemplation about how you do operate in this world. And you could evolve quite a lot by the end of this month as the Sun combines with Mars, and that can give you a new outlook on life, but it probably is going to come from making some connections within yourself rather than some physical changes happening outside of you. It is true that Venus moves into a much more diplomatic area for you on the 28th, and as does Cancer, as does Mercury moving into Cancer on the 29th. And an exchange you have towards the end of this month can cheer you up a lot. I don't necessarily think the communications that you have this month are all going to go in your direction, but one thing's for sure, you will be much clearer about all sorts of relationships by the time that May comes to a close. It's been a pleasure being with you. Thank you for joining me. Good luck and goodbye for now.